Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of Ask Me Anything with me, Yaasha Sabba, personal family lawyer. We help you with your estate planning, asset protection, tax planning issues. More money, more problems, hide your kids, hide your wife, we're here to help. So the question we have today is what happens if a will is contested, but the inheritance has already been spent, whether it's money or sold, if it's an item? Do they have to pay the money back, or is there a grace period where they can't use the inheritance, and that grace period is when someone must try to contest it? When you say, do they have to pay the money back? I think you mean whoever has the money because it's been spent or sold. Here's the deal. When someone passes away and there's a will, if you start just going and spending the money for anything or giving the money away, you are pretty much violating the terms of that will. You're violating the law. Whoever is the one that has access to the money to begin with and gives it away, they're going to become personally liable for that money, and the court is going to hold them accountable for that. Whoever receives the money will also be personally liable. So be very careful. When there is a passing in your family with your loved ones, usually there's a lot that can happen, and a lot of people get confused on what money do we have access to, what money does the will control, what money is not controlled. Let me make it simple for you. When a loved one comes to me and says, Yaasha, mom and dad has passed away, what do I do next? I say, okay, there are 3 buckets we look at where the assets, the money, the value is sitting. The first bucket is joint ownership. Did your loved one who passed away jointly own any assets with anyone else? This could be a husband and wife situation. Husband passes away, wife is still alive. If they jointly own the home belongs to the wife. The will doesn't control at that point. So whatever you co-own, bank accounts, real estate, this kind of stuff will automatically be owned by the other co-owner. Other type of items though, like a business, if you co-own a business with your partner, there's nothing that says that that business automatically goes to the partner unless you have some kind of agreement in place with your partner within the business that says your ownership goes. So there's small nuances there. The second bucket is beneficiary designations. Any items that doesn't have a co-owner, was solely owned by that person that has passed away, such as if your father passes away and the bank account is in his name, even if he's married, even if he has children, well, he's the sole owner. Not even his wife will be able to get access to it. The bank will freeze the money. They won't give her access to it. And then we have to figure out, does the bank account have a beneficiary listed on it? So we're thinking retirement accounts, bank accounts, life insurance, some real estate, some families, they can record a deed that says transfer on death. So it says, I own the home, but I'm recording this deed that says transfer on my death to someone else. That's technically a beneficiary designation. That's all the second bucket. So first bucket, do you co-own the asset with anybody else? And do the rules say that that ownership automatically goes to the other co-owner? We can help you figure that out. Second bucket, is there a beneficiary designation if there's no co-owner? And in the beneficiary designation is a contract between the owner, the institution holding the custodian of the account, as well as your beneficiary. And notice those first 2 buckets, the will does not control. It's not until the third bucket, what we call your probate estate. Everything else, if there's no co-owner, if there's no beneficiary, everything else falls into that third bucket. That's when the will controls. Now, does that mean you can go and spend money? No, you can't spend money. You have to go to court. That's what sucks about this process. This third bucket, the probate process. All wills have to be authenticated by the judge. If the will says you're in charge, well, guess what? Just because the will says you're in charge, that doesn't mean you're in charge. You have to get a judge appointing you as the executor, the personal representative of the estate of your loved one. So if someone has access to money after a loved one dies, it's either because they're a joint owner and it's because it's their money and they can do what they want with it, the will has no control, or it's because they were the beneficiary of the asset, they showed a death certificate, they said the owner's dead, give the money to me, that's what the designation says, and now it's their money, they have complete control, or it's because it's money in a probate estate and they're going through a will. Now, sometimes, obviously in practicality of the world, things happen. Sometimes maybe your husband dies, he's the sole owner of the bank account, and he listed you to have access to the bank account as an authorized signature. Your name is not on the account as the owner, but you have access to the account as an authorized signature. Technically, you're not supposed to be able to have access to the account once he dies. And the moment the bank finds out that he's dead, they're gonna freeze the account. But sometimes the bank doesn't find out that he died. And you go into the account and you pull money out. And when you do that, you might be violating the law and you might be liable. And if you think no one will find out, oh, ho, 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 I'm an attorney. Let me tell you, we will find out. We can find out. It's called your bank transactions. And right once that account goes through probate, those bank statements are what we have to disclose to the court. And we have to tell them, here's all the transactions that have happened on this account since the date of death. And if the bank sees money's leaving the account, they're going to say, what's happening here? Who has that authority to take money out and why? And the moment they find out that that was you used your authorized authority during life and you used it after death to access that money, you're going to be in trouble. So don't do it. If you have questions about it, there are times where you can use money in advance to pay for funeral expenses, to pay the mortgage. Make sure that that house mortgage gets paid so it doesn't go into foreclosure while we're dealing with this mess trying to figure out who the inheritance is going to. So there's small exceptions where you can pay for expenses, sell items in order to pay the expenses of the estate while you're dealing with the court process. But those are very limited exceptions, and most of the time, you can't do it until you get that court process started. So there's nuances to this. But if you are looking for a quick answer saying, what happens? I accidentally distributed an inheritance to an heir of this loved one's estate, and now I'm realizing that I have to go through this court process, and now I'm realizing this court process is expensive. Who's in trouble? Yes, you are in trouble because you did something you weren't supposed to do and didn't have legal authority to do. And just because you have access to do it doesn't mean you have the legal right to do it. And yes, the courts will claw back in time and see what you've done, and they will come after you, and you will be personally liable. But we can fix this, so don't get scared. I'm not here to be a risk monger or fear monger. Don't get scared. We can fix this. But keep in mind that when you do that, and in probate, not only will you be liable, but also the person receiving the money could also become liable because the judge will go to them saying, give it back. And yeah, they'll have to give it back. And then if they are entitled to it at the end of the process, then they'll get that money right back. But you still have to go through that process in order to do all this. So don't forget those three buckets: joint ownership, beneficiary designations, and then probate. Everything in probate, this is where the will controls, the third bucket. And if you don't have a will, well, the government has a will for you. Now, if you want to avoid probate, if you want to avoid court, and if you want to avoid all those unnecessary costs, then another tool you can use is building a trust. When you build a trust, it can take care of all three buckets. You can put all three buckets into your trust. So if anything happens to you in life or in death, life meaning we're healthy and we're living our lives so much so that we grow so old to the point where we need help going to the grocery store. We need help taking a bath. We need help handling our bills and finances. This is where your trustees during your life, while you're alive, can come in and help take care of you. If you don't have a trust, you'll use something called a power of attorney. If you don't have a power of attorney, then you're going to court. And the whole goal of all of this is staying out of court. Anytime you go to court, you're in a very shit situation. Pardon my language. It's a very bad situation to be going to court. There's no reason anyone should be going to court until they either haven't planned in advance or, as they say, shit has hit the fan. So keep that stuff in mind. If you want to avoid all three buckets, build a trust. All right. A trust can handle all three. If you don't have a trust, then the first bucket is joint ownership. That's what goes first. Second bucket is beneficiary designations. And then the third bucket is your will. And that is what takes over from there. Okay. All right. That's been all for today. If you have any questions, feel free to send us a message. Follow us on LinkedIn. Follow us on Facebook, on YouTube, skyunlimited.law. I am Yaasha Sabba, and I'm happy to answer any of your estate planning, tax planning, long-term care planning, advanced planning, credit shelter planning. You have money problems. Do you have people you love and you want to keep them out of court? Do you have money and you're growing on your investments and entrepreneurs? We can help you with all of that. We're happy to help, and we're here to help. Reach out anytime you need. Thanks. Take care.